Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this session open at 6:13. There is nothing to report from closed session per government. Ms. Urias, would you lead us?
Hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's an Amber Alert. It's an Amber Alert.
All right, I'm going to go to item C, approval of agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, and let's all say aye if you're in favor. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the vote carries 5-0. Now we're going to move on to item 4, staff report, superintendent's report. Dr. Cora will update the Board of Trustees on activities throughout the district. Okay, Dr. Cora?
Thank you, President Thompson. I want to make sure, is Mr. Luna on? He's on? Okay, Mr. Luna, you can still hear?
I am on.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Just want to make sure you're there. Okay, so I want to first of all say good evening, and I'll start similar to what I've done with previous meetings. As everyone is aware, our public board meetings will continue to be available to the public via live streaming due to the Governor's Executive Order N3320, which includes language stating gatherings of individuals who are at a high risk for severe illness of COVID-19 should be limited to no more than 10 people, while also following social distancing guidelines. And the public has been informed, as noted on the posting of this evening's agenda, that any citizen wishing to be heard by the Board of Trustees may email a public comment to mgarcia@santapaulaunified, all one word, .org prior to each meeting. Public comments will then be read by our board president during the public comment section of the meeting. So I'd like to begin then by stating that we miss our students, and we truly wish that they were back in our classrooms. I've heard that over and over again from teachers, classified, our administrators. We all miss our students. As we adhere to the stay-at-home order, administrators, certificated, and classified staff continue to work hard to provide our students educational opportunities to participate through distance learning. We have some creative and awesome efforts being put forth by teachers to keep students motivated and working at home. Principals have shared many creative ways their teachers are reaching out to students to continue their learning. And I want to thank our staff for their dedication and hard work during the closure of our facilities. I have great news to share. The California Department of Education informed us that we'll be receiving 974 Chromebooks, 124 of which have already been shipped and are being configured. We're also waiting to receive word from the California Department of Education whether or not we'll receive any of the 1,500 hotspots that we have requested. For now, we've been informed that we are on a waiting list. And I want to thank Ms. Shefferly, who started that grant. Was it a grant, or was it just a request from CDE?
It was a grant request through California's Closing the Digital Divide.
So we're waiting on, again, 974 Chromebooks, and we requested 1,500 hotspots. We'll see what we get, but being on the waiting list, I think, is somewhat promising. Again, thank you to all of our parents who are working with their children to support their learning from home. We are all doing the best we can to provide students the support they need. I want to inform our parents that a parent update is nearing completion and will be translated and posted by early next week. The update provides information covering several different topics. Also, there will be a senior and parent graduation letter which will be sent home by this Friday, sharing information regarding plans to recognize our seniors for their accomplishments. Please know that we are doing everything we can within the safety guidelines provided by the Ventura County Public Health Department. As we concluded recognizing and showing our gratitude for teachers last week during Teacher Appreciation Week, we will focus on celebrating our classified employees next week during Classified Appreciation Week. So thank you for all that you do for our students and parents, whether you're a teacher, a classified employee, or even our administrators. And speaking of classified employees, as we have recently been sharing, the Child and Nutrition Services Department, led by Director Suzanne Stamp, has now provided nearly 200,000 meals to the children of Santa Paula since March 16th. Ms. Stamp and her staff are unbelievable. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees and Administration, I remind everybody to please be safe and stay healthy, and this concludes my superintendent report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cora. And now we come to Superintendent Committee updates. The Board of Trustees are appointed to committees and attend meetings accordingly. At this time, board members may wish to update their colleagues and/or ask for feedback. And now I know there haven't been a lot of meetings, but some of you may have some information. So, Ms. Urias, do you have anything?
I have nothing at this time.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Colback?
No, thank you.
All right, Mrs. Mead?
No, the LCAP letter that went out, the email that went out from Ms. Jefferly and Ms. Ramirez to all the members was very informative, but I think it's going to be covered in our update. So I'll let you do that, the honors.
Mr. Luna, do you have anything to report on?
None at this time, Mrs. Thompson, thank you.
Thank you. And I just have, being on the scholarship committee, I have a report that our next meeting will be May 19th, and it's going to be a Zoom meeting because we have to get those scholarships organized. And of course, we are losing our wonderful member, Karen Giroux, who's a counselor at the high school. I don't know how we're going to do without her because she does such a wonderful job every year with the scholarships. But I think all of the even though the stock market did take a hit, we still have enough money to award all the scholarships that we want with an extra, I think it's 5 or 6% more. So, and we picked up some money from other people for scholarships. So everything looks really good as far as our students getting their scholarships. Okay. Recognition, and is there any recognition tonight?
No, we don't have it, President Thompson, but we kind of left it on there because we're recognizing all of our classified employees next
Yes.
week and all of our certificated staff last week. So we're recognizing everybody.
Okay, well,
Ms. Urias?
yes.
We could recognize Chrissy and Dr. Gillette
Oh,
for their
right.
AXA awards,
right.
right?
Thank you for the reminder. I know the board knows, but maybe the public does not know, but Ms. Shefferly and Ms. Gillette were both nominated and also received Administrator of the Year awards by the Association of California School Administrators, and they were supposed to be recognized May 1st, but because of everything going on. So Ms. Shefferly and Ms. Gillette, if you're watching, congratulations to both of you. Very, very well-deserved awards. Thank you, Ms. Urias.
Thank you. All right, and now we will move to public comments, item number 6. In accordance with Governor Newsom's executive orders N-33-20 and N-29-20 respectively, in regards to the COVID-19 virus, members of the public will continue to have the right to observe the public meeting via live streaming at www.kadytv.net and submitting comments in writing prior to the start of the meeting at mgarcia@santapaulaunified.org. Please limit written remarks to 3 minutes for all presentations unless otherwise informed. In accordance with Education Code 35145.5, the board cannot enter into a formal discussion or make a decision on any matter not on the agenda for this meeting. And let me just double check. I believe I have only 2. Yes, I have 2 public comments. I will read the first from Patty Zavala. Good evening, all. I hope you are all safe and healthy. It might be the last thing on our mind, but it's something that we cannot afford to set aside. Before COVID-19 became what it is today, our district was facing challenges regarding the budget. Layoffs, budget cuts, a projected $3 million deficit for the current school year, etc. The hardships created by this pandemic are affecting our households, private and public entities, and we can't ignore it. A quick review of the purchase order / check register report showed a purchase of $28,104.25 at Winter Chevrolet. Is this a new vehicle? Attached to the April 6th meeting was a payment to Creative Construction for $24,000 for cattle barns. The purchase order report attached to this meeting shows another $24,000 payment to Creative Construction. Was that $48,000 spent on cattle barns? How is this justified? How are we in such a bad financial position yet continue with expenses like these? The budget hasn't been discussed at all. I ask that the board bring back budget discussions at a future board meeting. Thank you, Patricia Zavala. And our next comment comes, good afternoon, from Mr. Juan Ojeda. Good afternoon, members of the Board of the Santa Paula Unified School District. My name is Juan Ojeda at Grace Thill School. I am part of the School Site Council, ELAC, DLAC, Migrant Program, LCAP, and an active parent attending board meetings. At Isbell Middle School, I am part of the ELAC committee. Through this public comment, I extend my complaint to the following. Our district needs to be rebuilt financially and academically, and there are many school days that students are not part of a class. Academically, as you can see in the dashboard, our students are still academically behind in most of their academic areas. To this day, there are teachers who have not had visual or verbal contact with their students. Most teachers only leave assignments in their Google Classroom every Monday. They ask if the student has questions, they can contact the teacher via email. My personal experience in my family is that when you send an email, not all teachers answer or never answer. And it seems to be the same story in other families in elementary, middle, and high school levels. The first week of May, I let the superintendent know what's going on with teachers, and I haven't received any updated response. As a member of different committees and having spoken with many parents, we ask to please make virtual classes and team together to help our students. Our students, just like teachers, are not on vacation at home. It is not fair for a student to be asked to study and do his or her homework when the teacher doesn't communicate with the student. This is a very big problem. Why are students not being given the required help since they are losing 1, contact with their teacher, 2, contact the ELD teacher, 3, students who received intervention classes during school hours lost that service when this service is within the individual student plan, and this is taking away students' rights. Number 4, enough is enough, as the California Department of Education says, no child left behind. Number 5, it is not fair for teachers like Mrs. Jennifer Dobby, who is also part of the Isbell Middle School Site Council, to be making inappropriate comments and mocking parents and students on social media. I am asking a written response to comments 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in this complaint. In addition, fiscal decisions made by the district staff are not being transparent. I have requested information from the assistant superintendent, and I have been unsuccessful getting the information. That's it. And this, oh, I'm sorry, I do have one more. This is from Stephen Lazenby. To whom it may concern, my name is Stephen Lazenby. I have lived in Santa Paula for 65 years. My father, Doug Lazenby, taught at Santa Paula High School for more than 35 years. I am retired from the Santa Paula Fire Department after serving there for 33 years. At my retirement, I was a fire captain and served as the City of Santa Paula's Emergency Preparedness Coordinator for 14 years. During my service as the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator, I worked with the Fire Chief, City Manager, and the Santa Paula City Council to organize and implement the Santa Paula Citizen Corps Council. The Santa Paula Citizens Corps Council was approved and recognized by FEMA in 2004, and the council has been meeting once a month since FEMA's recognition. The Santa Paula Citizen Corps Council is made of a combination of private citizens and public employees and averages an attendance of around 15 members. Members of the council include representatives of the Red Cross, Santa Paula Police Department, Ventura County Fire Department, Santa Paula City Council, Santa Paula Chamber of Commerce, Santa Clara Hospice, the Santa Paula Times, the Boys and Girls Clubs, and representatives of Neighborhood Watch, CERT, Citizens Patrol, and the Ventura County Medical Reserve Corps. Additionally, a professional emergency radio communications expert and ham radio are represented. The goal of the Santa Paula Citizen Corps Council is to bring together members of the community that share a concern and interest in making Santa Paula a safer place. We come together to share our resources and to request support from each other as needed. Jeff Argin, representing the Santa Paula Unified School District, is a dedicated member of the Santa Paula Citizen Corps Council, and his participation in the council has opened and maintains valuable collaboration and dialogue with emergency responders and concerned members of our community. Jeff's membership on the council has been instrumental in facilitating the implementation of critical game plans for schools and all city entities to work together as one. Jeff's relationship with the council members is personal and comfortable. Jeff has excellent communication skills. The members of the council know and trust Jeff and have watched as he has passionately worked to make the Santa Paula Unified School District campuses safer for the staff and students. Jeff works well in a group setting and is a trusted professional. Jeff's participation in the Santa Paula Citizen Corps Council has been invaluable, and we have all been impressed with the noticeable progress that he has made to the Santa Paula Unified School District's safety programs. Except for the Santa Paula Police Department and Ventura County Fire Department, no other organization in Santa Paula has a larger vulnerable population, Santa Paula Unified School District, and Jeff has made it his mission to do everything in his power to assure the safety of everyone under his care. Since I first met Jeff 6 years ago, he has become one of my favorite people. His character and dedication to his job makes it more than a job, it is his passion. Jeff is an outstanding representative of the Santa Paula Unified School District and an asset to the Santa Paula Citizens Corps. Please make every possible effort to keep Jeff in his position so that he can continue to work for Santa Paula Unified School District's safety and support the Santa Paula Citizens Corps Council. Sincerely, Steve Lazenby. And was I supposed to read the one from Jeff?
No.
Okay, all right. All right, and that is the end of our public comments. And now we will go on to item number 7, information items. A, COVID-19 update. Staff will provide the Board of Trustees updated information regarding the district's essential functionings, including district safety, meal preparation and distribution, district budget update, human services, special education, distance learning plan, which includes local control accountability plan, dual language immersion, and summer school. Dr. Cora?
Thank you, President Thompson. So Michael, can you get that up on the screen? And to our cabinet members who are online on Zoom, to let the board know, we will periodically be bringing in an update just to let you know what's going on in all of those different areas. So our cabinet members will be taking turns covering the different areas. And again, at the very end, we'll provide an opportunity for the board to ask any questions or make any comments. But it's, again, our job now at this time to just kind of fill you in on what's going on. We call it a COVID-19 update, but it's really, since our facilities have been closed, what's been going on in all of these different areas. So and to our cabinet members online, if you can please let Michael know, he will go to the next slide when you tell him to go to the next slide, okay? So Michael, next slide, please. So again, as President Thompson mentioned, those are the different areas that we'll be covering. We'll be covering district safety and facilities, our meal distribution program, our district budget update, some information regarding human resources, certificated and classified, special education update, and as Ms. Thompson said, distance learning plan from Ms. Shefferly. So if we can, we're going to go ahead and get started. Next slide, please, Michael. Mr. Shefsky is going to go ahead and cover the slide of, as a matter of fact, I think Mr. Shefsky has the next handful. So, Mr. Shefsky, District Safety and Facilities.
I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but it is not showing. It's still on the first slide and hasn't begun the presentation mode.
We are on District Safety and Facilities. I'm not sure why it's not, but if you, as long as you have it in front of you, do you have it in front of you? Your copy?
I'm about to.
So, while you're doing that, Mr. Shefsky, everyone else.
There we
please
go.
make-
It's there now.
Okay, and everybody else, please make sure you have a copy in front of you just in case that happens again, because we're seeing it here. Thank you, Mr. Shefsky.
Sure. Okay, so on the left, you can see this is what has been posted at all of our facility sites, district office, at all of our school sites, human resources office, to comply with the Ventura County Public Health requirements to notify people coming into buildings of maintaining a social distance. If you're sick, one, stay home, but two, if you have to come in, make sure that you cover your mouth, wear a face covering, so on and so forth, and continue to wash your hands. Also, in light of all of our closures, we are making every effort to ensure that our facilities are secure and safe. So we have contracted with Boyd and Associates for some additional security patrol. We are also having our own district safety and security personnel come in to patrol our campuses, as well as working closely with the Santa Paula Police Department to increase their presence at all the school sites. Next slide, please. And as Dr. Cora alluded earlier, we have served a lot of meals since the closure on effective March 16th. We have transitioned to a 5-day meal distribution that is at 2 of our locations, Glen City and Barbara Webster, and we're providing those meals on Mondays from 10:30 to 12:30. When we first started distributing meals, we were serving about 1,800 children a day. And we bumped that up to approximately 2,400 children are served weekly. And for a grand total of total meals served through March 16th of 193,930 meals. So our child nutrition services, as well as our custodial staff and other various staff and volunteers, have been doing a wonderful job trying to ensure that our children in Santa Paula are receiving meals when needed. Next slide, please. Okay, district budget update. I'm going to go through a couple slides on this, mainly focusing on what is it looking like for the outlook for next year. Just to touch briefly on the fact that districts depend on state revenue. That's our primary source of revenue. We are not a for-profit, and we rely on taxes. So the 3 top taxes for the state is income, corporate, and sales tax. And based off Prop 98, districts typically receive about 60% of that share. State's been doing some projecting on everything that's going on right now. You might be aware that a lot of taxes, property taxes in some counties have been delayed. Sales tax receipts are being postponed. So all those revenues are coming in much slower and obviously much smaller than they would normally, because a lot of sectors of the economy are in effect closed. So the state's estimating anywhere approximately 25% of total state to be decreased. For 2021 is 2.31%. But it's important to take into consideration that we are not guaranteed the COLA, and especially with the transition from revenue limit to LCFF, a lot of the deficit factor language that we had in the past with revenue limits doesn't exist anymore. Prior to LCFF, the state had to keep track of what they had deficited districts, and kind of like an IOU situation. That doesn't exist anymore. So what we're kind of hearing, and the May revise should be out tomorrow, best case scenario, what I'm hearing is 0 COLA or no COLA, but in reality, it could likely be a negative COLA situation, which would essentially mean we would get less next year than we get this year. And again, to kind of bring us back to February and and the recovery plan that the district had been working on, those figures or those estimated deficits were based off of approximately a 2% COLA in all years. So if you take that away, our deficit will grow. And again, this is going to impact our total reserve and our ability to maintain the minimum reserve requirements for Ed Code. Next slide, please. So some silver lining good news. We are receiving some stimulus from the state and the federal government. We have received an allocation from the state from SB 117, and these are some COVID response funds. We were allocated $87,397. That's going to be largely utilized by the purchase of the 200 hotspots that the board approved at our last meeting. And we are slated to receive some CARES Act funds from the federal government. Based off of recent allocation, it's estimated to be about just over $1 million. And didn't make it to this slide, but there also is another bill going through at the federal level that would be similar to what we received in the last recession. It was a stabilization funding. Where that's going to come in remains to be seen, and whether it'll be approved. But that is currently going through the houses and legislation at the federal level. So we do anticipate seeing some additional relief in funding. And next slide.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Dr. Torres, hang on just a second, very quick. So we've covered safety, facilities, we've covered meals, got into budget. Any questions so far before we wait till the end? Budget was a big item. And if not, we'll wait till the end. Okay, thank you, Dr. Torres, go ahead.
Okay, well, as you see in regards to, the budget that we just kind of talked about, we do have an economic uncertainty, and, within our certificated area, one of the concerns we have is that once we hire someone, we basically will own that individual for the remainder of the 2021 school year. So we're being very cautious in regards to filling positions right now. So we're mainly focusing on our hard to fill positions, which would be our special ed, our service providers, which are some of like our SLPs, our nurses, school psychs, as well as any math or science position. So right now, until we get further information in regards to enrollment and, our budget, we're going to be very cautious in basically hiring any positions until further notice. And, we will continue to assess that over the next coming weeks and then make decisions accordingly to help fill any positions that are crucial for the 2020-21 school year. And additionally, we've been processing significant amount of EDD unemployment claims for our certificated substitute teachers that, to have no fault of their own, have been unable to pick up positions. And, so we've processed several unemployment claims at this point in time. So, and that's pretty much what, the main focus right now within the certificated area is preparing for our staffing and looking to see what our, what positions are needed for next year.
Thank you, Dr. Torres. And before we get to Ms. Sanchez-Reyes, as Dr. Torres said, we're being cautious until we know what our numbers are, other than the positions that are hard to fill, because every other district's the same way. And many other districts are taking the same approach right now, so we know what our budget's going to look like and what the needs are. Ms. Sanchez-Reyes? Ms. Sanchez-Reyes, are you there? No? Okay. So for Ms. Sanchez-Reyes, the Personnel Commission staff, they're continuing to recruit for the vacancies, and the Personnel Commission staff is filling child nutrition custodian staff as needed. So, Ms. Sanchez-Reyes, you're welcome. All right, Dr. Aguirre, are you on?
I am.
All right, all yours.
So for student services and special education, we have sent out our invitations for extended school year, which will run this year from June 9th to July 6th. It is the 19-day inclusive of the holiday 20 days of required extended school year for students with special education eligibility for that program. We are currently waiting till Friday to come up with our solid numbers for staffing. It does look like we will need anywhere from 1 to 3 teachers for this summer. We'll continue with distance learning, which will be online as well as the packets, and our case managers making contact by phone with parents and students as needed. Service providers still continue to work with the distance learning during our regular school year by, again, providing packets and also reaching out to students and staff to provide support while they are trying to manage this distance learning process. It has been a little bit more difficult for our designated instructional services providers, which are our speech pathologists, our mental health counselors, and our occupational therapists and physical therapists, but they are doing the best they can and providing and logging services that we may need to come back to later. Our service providers and our administrators are also making great headway on holding as many IEPs as possible while we are closed. Luckily, our SELPA had added the digital signature feature to our IEP process, so we aren't going to have to leave as many IEPs undone as we thought previously, so that was a great asset. And lastly, our mental health counselors and our academic counselors are continuing to reach out to all of our students who are previously either identified as having a higher need, and also take new referrals for students who might be going through a little bit more of a difficult time while we're away from school. So we have all of our counselors and our mental health counselors really very active right now, and they are providing a vital service and making referrals to outside services as well. So everybody's been doing a fantastic job. We're looking forward to the ESY. Hopefully we'll get some of our students to register and want to continue with that distance learning. But for now, everybody is just making sure that everybody's well-being is at the forefront of their contacts. That's it, Dr. Cora.
Thank you, Dr. Aguirre. Any questions regarding special ed, special education, extended school year?
Sounds good.
Okay, we're going to move on to Mrs. Shefferly, who's going to take us through the last part of the update, which is the education side for, for distance learning, for the COVID-19 LCAP deadlines, and for dual language immersion and summer school as well. Ms. Shefferly.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight I'll provide a brief overview of distance learning phase 3. We are in week 3.5 of our phase 3 of distance learning, in which we are supporting our students with virtual as well as on the hard copy packet, learning packets. Before I begin, I would just like to acknowledge and commend all of our teachers. First, for their commitment to students. Second, for their innovation. And third, for their continued efforts to recreate and redesign public education in an unbelievable short amount of time. So thank you so much. We are continually impressed by our teachers, and every week have between 35 and 50 teachers participating in a weekly online Zoom in which they're sharing best practices and sharing how they are engaging and connecting with students. So that has been our focus. How can we continue to connect and engage? So thank you so much, teachers. We'd be remiss if we also didn't thank our parents, also for their patience, flexibility, and support as we are all learning together. Like I stated, we're continuing to focus in on student engagement and connectedness. We are continuing to utilize Google Classroom and many applications, and our teachers are continuing to participate in professional development. During the first week of Phase 3 of distance learning, we focused in on making student contact. Basically, how can we reach out and connect with every student? And again, we've been successful. And for those students who we have not been able to make contact, teachers are contacting their site administrators, and Dr. Aguirre is working with her staff, mental health counselors, as well as our school counselors, to reach out and just do some wellness checks to make sure that families and kids are physically, emotionally okay. We've gone from just focusing on student contacts to gathering data to the extent by which students are participating regularly in either online distance learning or utilizing the packets. And Santa Paula High School this week has reported that 60% of their students are regularly, and regular means they are checking into Google Classroom, not only doing that, but turning in assignments on a regular basis. 60% of students are participating. Renaissance High School, 77%. Isbell Middle School, 38% of the students are participating regularly. However, they've made contact with 95% of their students. So we are working on that regular participation. Our elementary schools, across all 6 of them, are averaging 82% of regular participation, whether that be online and or utilizing the hard copy learning packets. And we are getting ready to send out and distribute another set of learning packets for the next 2 weeks. And then we'll send out a last packet that last week of school, which will take kids in through summer. So we want to make sure that we're responding to our parent survey, which indicated primarily at the elementary level, parents want a blend. So we are offering that. And again, 3.5 weeks into this, we're refining. And we are gathering anecdotal data to determine what is working best, what we need to work on in the event that this model extends. Next bullet point is hotspots in Chromebooks, and Dr. Cora touched on that. Final grades. We are recommending a hold harmless philosophy for our students. In that MOU is included in tonight's board agenda. The hold harmless philosophy will basically allot grades from posted third quarter grades. We need to be sensitive, equitable, and we don't know the personal circumstances by which students and families are experiencing at home. And I commend SPFT, our administrators, and everyone involved for bringing to the board a very respectful, equitable, temporary grading policy. As far as the elementary schools, we will utilize second trimester marks as final report card grades. Additionally, we've worked together to generate narratives in which teachers will use, which will do 2 things. One, communicate to the parents as of the end of second trimester whether or not their student was working above, at, or below grade level. That will be reported in reading, language arts, and mathematics based on the California standards. Secondly, teachers will use a narrative template to communicate to students the extent to which students participated in distance learning. They will use the words regularly, periodically, or rarely. And the third comment will include information as to whether or not the parent reported that the student was utilizing the take-home packets provided by the district. So we'll have some some information, the best we can do as of this point as to participation. And the last bullet is next steps, and I think that is a question that we are all waiting for. What I will share is that, we are awaiting more information, as Dr. Cora has communicated, from public health. And our decisions will be based first and foremost on the safety of our students and our staff. Our decision to move forward will be based on data and around the science and what we know about COVID-19 and the spread across Ventura County. So we are in touch with other administrators, Dr. Cora with other superintendents across Ventura County, and involved in several networks and working together to determine what next school year might look like.
Ms. Sheffield, before you go on to the next slide, I understand that parents cannot access we're learning to work through this whole technology process, and understand that parents they're watching the live stream of us here. So to those out in the live streaming audience, you can go to our website, go to the board agenda, and the packet is there. You can at least open it up and look at it there. So I apologize that they can't see what we're looking at now. Thank you.
Okay, next slide. COVID-19 LCAP deadlines. On April 22nd, an executive order was established by the California Department of Education to address the impact of extended school closures in regards to local control accountability plan. The executive order spoke to waiving certain budgetary requirements. The executive order also established a requirement that each school district adopt a written report explaining to its community the changes to program offerings the district has made in response to district closures. And so it's going to look a lot different this year, and I think for some time to come. What Executive Order 56-20 states is by July 1st, local governing boards, and I'm in the first box here on the left, local governing boards will approve the 2021 budget. So we'll go ahead and we'll present the budget, have a public hearing, and then formally adopt the budget. Additionally, on that second meeting in June, I believe it's June 17th, I want to say, we will also bring a operations written report to the Board of Trustees for approval. The operations written report is meant to be brief. CDE says you need to be briefly succinct. Each response should have no more than 300 words. So this is not a multi-100-page document. It is a brief document meant to address a few areas. The first area that it will speak to is we will write to how our district is meeting the needs of English learners, foster youth, and low-income students. We'll also provide an overview explaining the changes to program offerings the district has made in response to school closures to address the COVID-19 emergency and the major impacts of the closures on students and families. And as we all know, we have not been able to offer all of the programs that we would in a traditional face-to-face setting, so we will speak to that. Third, the district will write to a description of steps that we've taken to continue delivering high-quality distance learning opportunities. So we'll talk a little bit about phase 1, 2, and 3. Dr. Aguirre will include language regarding the distance learning program for special education students. Fourth, we will describe the steps that the district has taken to provide school meals while maintaining social distancing practices. And last, for those districts who have arranged for supervision of students during the school closures, districts would write to what those plans were. So again, it's going to be very brief. This OWR, Operations Written Report, will only be brought to the Board of Trustees. The county will not approve it. We are required to have it approved by local governing board, and second, to post on our website. That has to be done on or before July 1st. Second, what the executive order also outlines, and I'm in the middle box now, is that by December 15th, each school district will adopt a 2021 LCAP. And we are told that the template will look different. It will not look like our current template. They haven't shared what it will look like yet. It will be not as lengthy. It will only speak to 2021. It won't be a 3-year plan. But we do know that by December 15th, we will have to write our annual review. And we know that will be significantly modified due to the school closures beginning March 13th. And on December 13th, in that 1-year approval, that's where you'll see the budget overview for parents, that newly added component to last year's LCAP. And then the County Office of Education, VCO, will approve the plan by January 14th, and then we will have another LCAP, 21-22, what we are told, due by June 30th as well. So we will write about 2.5 LCAPs this year. And again, the executive order and the operations written report takes into consideration that school districts have not been able to have as meaningful of stakeholder input and feedback as the LCAP requires. I will share that we still are holding school site council meetings, ELAC meetings through Zoom. Gina Ramirez is reaching out to all district committees. We sent the email to the LCAP committee. And we are currently aggregating data from the LCAP survey that was sent out prior to the school closures. We're just a little uncertain. And until we have a better idea of what school and services will look like, I think this will start to take form. So probably a lot more questions than answers regarding LCAP.
A question for Ms. Schifferly.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Are we educating our parents that we're reaching out to in regards to how to use Zoom, how to call in, et cetera? Because I don't want this to be a barrier for any of those parents that are trying to get involved with the LCAP and trying to get involved with, any type of meetings that they can be a part of. So I was just wondering about that.
We've started to produce videos on Zoom in different applications, but up to this point, it's been for students. Our EdTech TOSA has created videos, and we've shared those with teachers, but I think, Trustee Luna, that would be a next step, given that this might be extended. Parent education around how to navigate a distance learning educational environment. So I think that is a much needed step that we will need to take moving forward.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Shefferly, I'm glad Mr. Luna brought that up. I do share that same concern, especially in light of Mr. Ojeda's comments. Apparently, he's in contact with some parents who feel that they haven't been responded to. So I do think that we need to follow up on that and make sure that, do our teachers respond to our principals as far as their parent contact? I mean, is there a mechanism in place so that principals know that the teachers are in constant contact with their students?
They have, they're using Google Forms and data sheets, which the teachers indicate, again, how students are interacting with distance learning. We do have virtual offices, and I encourage parents who have not received a phone call or a response, call the school office. We have folks manning the phones so we can ensure that all parents get a response. And phone call, email to the principal, and that is a priority of ours to make sure we're responding. So
Yeah, maybe we could have a follow-up report on that, because it is a team effort. No
Absolutely.
one group of people can do this alone. It requires the team of administrators, teachers, and families. And so we all need to do our part in making sure we all make the most of this situation. Thank you.
yes, absolutely. Sorry, next slide. Dual language immersion program, a brief update. The dual language immersion program, when we brought it to the board, it seems like so long ago, but this school year, right? We asked ourselves, is there a reason why we wouldn't move forward? And I think the DLI Leadership Committee and everyone, looked at each other and said, it's good for kids and we needed to move forward. We have continued to move forward. We need to continue to educate kids and to create biliterate, culturally proficient kids in our district. Dr. Olivo and I have continued to keep in touch with CABE, Linda Hardeman Green, through Zoom consultations. We have also established a re-registration timeline for transitional kindergarten and kindergarten to reinitiate registrations. Glen City held their registration last week. They were the only school that wasn't able to hold their face-to-face registrations. We closed school right before that, and I think the week that we closed school, I want to say McKevitt just finished. So we really feel that we don't have accurate numbers, and our parents need additional opportunities to register their children. So we've reinitiated that process May 7th through May 20th. You probably saw on social media, we created a flyer. We have packets of registration forms outside of the district office, outside of Grace Thiel, at Garden Market and at Chino's Market here in Santa Paula, in which parents can go and pick up registration forms. We've also identified drop-off times at Grace Thiel School, as well as any parent can utilize the mail slot at the front doors of the district office to drop off registration forms. So our goal is to get a more accurate number of our youngest learners who will join us in the fall. We have also identified our transitional kindergarten DLI teacher, Ms. Martha Luna. She is a current kindergarten teacher at Glen City School, and she is absolutely wonderful, passionate, and an advocate for dual language instruction. We had interviews for the ELD now / teacher on special assignment. This is not a new position. It's funded with Title III English learner funds that can only be used to support English learners. It was a reassignment, and we are excited that Mr. Alfredo Varela was granted a reassignment and will support Gina Ramirez to provide ELD support and also assist with the DLI program. Last bullet, supplemental curriculum for transitional kindergarten. We've been working real close with CABE. In our current transitional kindergarten classes, we use Learning Without Tears, the handwriting without tears for language arts and mathematics. So we will be using Learning Without Tears and Espanol to parallel that. We've also been in contact with Ventura County Office of Education, DLI programs in Oxnard, down in San Diego, who are utilizing our curriculum wonders. and asking about phonics programs that align. Estrellitas is a Spanish language phonics program which works beautifully with Wonders. Oxnard Elementary School District uses Estrellitas as their phonics program, as well as we pre-planned. And when we adopted English language arts and mathematics curriculum for the elementary level, we made sure we adopted a program too, which had the Spanish companion, not just the translation, but a true Spanish component. And so we use math expressions. And so we will use expresiones en matemáticas, as well as maravillas, which is the Wonders companion from McGraw-Hill. So we're continuing to move forward. We're monitoring registrations, and parents are beginning to turn in those registration forms. So we'll be monitoring completed right now. With the school closures, we have 8 completed applications for DLI. That's without Glen City. And we also, I've received a few emails from parents who are hopefully awaiting that their child will be accepted and that they are, positively presuming that we will continue to move forward. So I'll continue to provide DLI updates. That's what we're monitoring. It's hard to tell when we haven't completed the registration process. That's why we reinitiated it. So we will have a much better idea by May 20th.
Okay. If I could just say that it's more than just speaking another language. It's reading another language and writing another language. And so I know growing up, there was a lot of us who understood Spanish, but we didn't dare speak it because we knew we didn't know enough, and we were embarrassed. So in this way, it just comes automatic to the students. They're so young, they don't care. And that's how they learn, because they don't have all these preconceived notions of what proper Spanish is. So I just have to say that if there's any parents listening or wondering or on the fence, that it's much, much more than just learning to speak another language. It's being totally proficient, just like we are in English.
Absolutely. It's complete biliteracy in 2 languages, which is very exciting. Next page. Summer school. So again, we had to redesign and rethink what summer school might look like, and also took a look at possible funding sources. We have identified Title I, which that's federal funding from the federal government designed to offer opportunities to close the achievement gap, to level the playing field for our most at-risk kids. And so we are proposing that our TK through 12th grade intervention and enrichment courses be offered solely through distance learning at this point. I'll speak to and start with the 3rd bullet, the transitional kindergarten through 8th grade program. We've taken a look at Title I budget, and we are proposing to offer distance learning summer school classes for every grade level, TK through 8. The timeline, it would start June 8th through July 3rd, 20 student days. We've identified a maximum time commitment for students of 5 hours per week. Our focus will be English language arts and mathematics. We will be using Google Classroom and supplemental computer-based programs, which we're using Freckle and Lexia, Renaissance Learning, Mayan. So I'm working with publishers to extend those services throughout summer for all students. Priority will be given to students working below grade level and to English learners. And next week, teachers will be identifying those students who need extra help, reaching out to parents and finding out with our parents if they are able, interested, want their child to participate in summer distance learning. So again, our most at-need students will be given first priority. And like we're doing this year, teachers will monitor attendance through participation and parent contact. So we'll continue to utilize our Google Forms to monitor when kids are checking in and how they're checking in through our different learning platforms. Second page, 912 program. This program will run a bit longer. It'll run 24 days. And in summer school for 912 is equally important. One, because our students need opportunities for credit recovery to accrue some credits for classes that they have not passed. Also, our incoming freshmen are dependent upon summer school. Many of them have impacted class schedules who are athletes involved in ASB, involved in pathways, and they utilize summer to relieve their schedule a bit, to be able to enroll into all of the courses that they need to. Our high school counselors have already initiated course requests from students. They've contacted students. Students have filled out forms indicating what courses they need. Counselors also look at transcripts to determine that. The courses that we offer will allow for credit recovery and enrichment, like previously stated. Fourth sub-bullet, we will use only UC A through G, Cyber High courses, Apex or UC Scout. UC Scout are online courses that are offered to us free of charge through the University of California, Santa Barbara. So online courses will be utilized as a first option for all of the classes that we will offer. The online classes are self-paced and students will receive credit when coursework is completed. For all of the Cyber High courses, Cyber High utilizes Fresno County Office of Education, and so Fresno County Office actually assigns the grade to the student based on successfully completing that course. And again, we will only use UCA through G courses, and that's really important for our students. We also have some classes that are not offered through an online learning platform, and for those we will utilize the Santa Paula Unified School District curriculum and Google Classroom as the online platform. For classes that are offered through our curriculum, students must receive and successfully complete 60 hours of classwork in order to earn credit, and that is the 60 hours to earn 5 Carnegie units, the method by which we assign credits. Teachers shall assign 2.5 hours per workday or 12 hours of work per week. Examples of courses that we will offer utilizing our own curriculum are Media Arts and Design. That's a freshman introductory course to our Arts, Media, and Entertainment pathway. We always offer Choices College and Career, which utilizes an online curriculum through Academic Innovations, as well as we always offer Health. Those are courses that kids typically take to free up their schedule. Additionally, we offer PE. So again, we want to make sure that kids are receiving A through G credit, so we will have a blend. And counselors are on that and getting course requests into our summer school track, which we've already completed. So it's just a matter of getting kids and courses. We will start advertising in the next day or two. If Dr. Torres is still on, I know he's working hard to get that out. And we'll continue to provide an update. But again, we are rethinking everything. It's the first time we've ever done a 100% online distance learning summer school, transitional kindergarten through 12th grade. We will learn a lot. We will make some adjustments as we go along. But again, we have committed teachers and administrators who are ready and willing to take on this this next opportunity for kids.
Thank you, Ms. Shefferly, and thank you to the rest of the cabinet members who shared information. And that is a lot of information, but I think the reminder to the board and also to our parents at home, There's a lot of things we are doing to the best of our ability with the tools that we have, keeping to all of the guidelines of social distancing and just keeping everybody safe. So I think Ms. Shefferly said something, a key word that stuck with me is, and it goes back to Ms. Urias asking for a report to come back, we need to continue to adjust as we move along, because just like it took universities and colleges to refine their online learning, I'm sure they didn't get it done in a matter of weeks or a matter of months, and that's what we've been trying to do. So kudos to our administrative staff, our teachers, our classified employees for trying to pull everything together so quickly, but we'll continue to adjust as we monitor and find out what works best. Questions?
I think it's important, especially for 9 through 12, to have some summer school for recovery classes. And I know you gave us all the percentages of students that have been involved in online learning. I am concerned about the overall cost that's been projected, which is $250,000. I'm not convinced that K through 8 is as needed for summer school. I know parents have asked me, I think Title I can be used, yes, to pay teachers, but Title I can also be used for goods. And I know a lot of parents have asked that they don't have books in their homes. They don't have crayons. They don't have this. And to me, 5 hours a week for certain grade levels, giving them more access to books, casual learning, I don't think that the money is as, how do I put that, equals the amount of goods we will see at the end of the summer by enriching these students or moving them forward, because we know our students have started to drop behind, and people are pretty tired of online learning. So to continue it during the summer at such a high level, especially through TK through 8, I'm concerned. I would be much happier for us to maybe look at some goods, because again, goods are something that is kept. So maybe a book that's put into the home can be picked up by someone else in the home. So it's just a suggestion, and I did notice that in one communication is that classes would not move forward if we didn't have at least 15 per class. So that's a way to monitor the amount of money. I just don't think we should have a blanket, we're going to have this no matter how many students sign up, because I really think that that money could be spent on some goods.
Correct, and class offerings are dependent upon student enrollment. And I will share, we are working with the generous donor from the Festival of Books who donates all those books. Gina Ramirez has been in contact with her, and she is working to get a collection of books together for us that can be separated by elementary, middle school, and high school that we can distribute out free to all students. So we are working on that project on the back end, and since we can't have an in-person Festival of Books, obviously right now, because they are donated, we could give those away free to students. So that's another project we're working on, and as soon as I have some more final details on that, I can provide an update. But I do agree, you know, also with the goods, we need to make sure that our kids have the necessary supplies for anything we give them. So thank you for those suggestions as well.
Also, I know that friends that are teachers in different districts have worked with Office Depot, and they have made a list of supplies, and they're all sent to one package per home.
Okay.
And the students receive it in the mail and are so excited, and I've seen lots of postings from the students and their parents. Yes, you know, and it's like crayons and notebooks and that they can use for their online or just to write in for stories and whatever. So that was an interesting thing to pick up on social media, that Office Depot kind of, they went together and did it, so we might look into
Look into
that.
options, absolutely.
And,
Please.
At a cost or donation?
pardon me?
At a cost or donation by Office Depot?
It just said that they partnered. So I don't know what percentage, but they had something to do with it. So that might be helpful. Also, I was wondering, when the cost came out, $250,000, what had been in the past? In the past, was the ratio of Title I to other funds that we've used, kind of where we are and what categories we pulled funding out of before?
We usually run about at least a $500,000 summer school program funded through Title I and LCAP. It is a lower cost because we don't have as much staff. We're primarily the funding is being allocated towards teaching staff to teach. We also don't have the in-class amount of supplies. One thing to keep in mind, the funding amount that was shared is the maximum funding. That would assume that, like Trustee Colbeck mentioned, that we have the students to fill those classes. The funding reflects a total of 28 sections at the high school level. We usually reach that when we have in-person classes. That might look a little different this year. The proposal, like I shared, is a more expansive elementary model, and that's why the 5 hours. We need to be mindful. Our kids are tired, our teachers are tired, but at the same time, we have our little ones who are not in school, and our primary teachers are being very creative, and they are having face-to-face Zooms and small group reading groups, and that's being highlighted and shared every week. The funding projection with Title I also reflects, I built it in a largest capacity scenario, which would be, 6 classes for each grade level, K through 5, 1 class for transitional kindergarten, and 1 class for 6th, 7th, and 8th ELA and mathematics. It's a little high. I don't know if we'll get all of those interested students, but in the event that we do, and we have families that say, we want some more support, we're willing to do this, not to the extent that we did during the regular school year, but for the 5 hours a week, we want that regular check-in from a teacher for, at least an hour every single day. The budget reflects that. So once we have an idea of who's interested, we can refine those numbers, but I wanted to provide the superintendent with a not-to-exceed amount.
Really support what you were saying about our ability to provide summer school TK through 12. I think it's really important that the elementary grades are not left out of the summer school loop. I really think that we have students struggling with reading and mathematics in their formative years. And we need them. We need to offer anything we can to get them up to snuff, if you will, as far as their learning and getting up to grade level. So I think that more than ever, because of the pandemic and because of the things that have happened in the schools, we need summer school. I'm very happy that we're offering it and that we're able to offer it and that we have Title I. So for the parents out there, it's not coming from our general funding, it's coming from Title I funding. So it's a good thing. We need it. We need it from little ones on up. And so I hope we're able to fill those classes.
I want to say that I'm very pleased with the different classes on the 9 through 12 summer school program, because I do think there is a real need for that after the students missing so much time, and wanting to get completed with this year and then pick up some classes that they need. And a lot of our students at the high school do have an impacted schedule because of special things that they're doing, academies and things. So I'm really glad to see that. I'm happy to see the recovery classes too, because that's going to be really important, I think. Also, the A through G, the UC A through G and Cyber High, Apex and UC Scout courses. I'm just real happy about that. And then, you know, from a personal perspective, I have a grandson will be doing a lot of these things this summer. So I think it's great. I really like the 9th through 12. I mean, I'm glad we have the other, but the K through 8, TK through 8, but I'm really happy about the high school because that was something that we were worried about. So yeah, appreciate it.
I think too that we have to be cautious that even though it may go out on Facebook or something, I hope we have different avenues to advertise this, because I got a screenshot. I'm not on Facebook. And so we keep talking about the limited access of a third of our parents. And so we just promote it. I mean, I'm just saying that there's got to be so many different ways, especially for our Spanish-speaking parents, to promote. And also maybe the teachers that we get for the summer, it really has to be drilled in that they are there to reach back out to the parents, because that was in one of the things at one of the presentations, that within 24 hours, and as we heard, that parents are not being, get back to. And so if we are going to move forward with it, we need to just drill home that those are our expectations.
Right, and our teachers will start working to, again, identify those students who are below grade level and have priority, and they're the ones who have contact with the kids on a regular basis right now. So we will send out a form by which teachers will identify students by priority, most at need, as well as English learners, and that's how we'll build our classes. But yes, we have to rely on the phone communication and not solely on social media. So our teachers and our school sites are the best means to reach our parents. They have the most contact with them, and teachers will be reaching out to those families and kids who need some more support, and to determine, if this model works, for their family and their situation right now. So we'll provide additional updates within the next couple weeks.
Thank you so much. All right, now we're going to move to item number 8, action items. 8A is Memorandum of Understanding, Temporary Distance Learning and Grading Policy 2019 through 2020. Approval of MOU between the Santa Paula Federation of Teachers and the Santa Paula Unified School District regarding a temporary grading policy during the COVID-19 school closures, 2019 through 2020. Staff recommends the Board of Trustees review and consider approval of the attached Memorandum of Understanding. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Urias. Second?
A second.
Thank you, Ms. Mead. Is there discussion?
One part that I really appreciated was the do no harm. It just takes off a lot of pressure. We understand that everybody's in a different circumstance, but it allows students that were behind the opportunity to raise their scores, because we know a lot of sports, a lot of activities, if we do open up and things happen, that they would really like to participate. And so it's like a win-win that I think it kind of levels the playing field.
Yes, and I would like to add that what I was pleased about was the acknowledging that distance learning creates hardships for some students and families. We really need to appreciate that because it must be tough. I know in my own household, especially when it gets hot, oh, our tempers flare. And you know, if you've got people at home and there's nowhere to go. So I really appreciate that the district recognizes that. And though we can't do everything for everybody, at least the acknowledgement is there and it's written into the memorandum of understanding and how we're just all doing our very best.
Any other discussion? All right, then we'll take the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It carries 5-0. Item 8B is the resolution 2019-20-14, graduation activities and student eligibility. Approval of 12th grade graduation activities and student eligibility requirements for the 2019-2020 school year. Staff recommends the Board of Trustees review and consider approval of the above resolution with respect to graduation activities and student eligibility for the class of 2020 due to school closures. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Sharias. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Mead. And is there discussion? Okay, I would like to say something because having taught at the high school, I was always a real proponent of everybody getting at least a 2.0 to graduate. But this is a totally different situation. And students who could have had a chance to make up their grades and get to a 2.0 really don't have the exact situation that other students have had. So therefore, I think this is a very fair thing to do, and I have absolutely no objection to it during this time of the virus and all of the different things that are going on. Anyone else have any discussion? All right, then we will take the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Vote carries 5-0. Action item 8C, approve rekey services with Action Lock and Key. The Board of Trustees will review and consider approving rekey services with Action Lock and Key for Santa Paula High School. Staff recommends the Board of Trustees review and consider approving a rekey services with Action Lock and Key for Santa Paula High School. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Rios. Thank you, Ms. Mead. And discussion.
Yes, I have a question on the purchase order and checks. The amount came to $40,000 for this, so can you explain the difference? Is it $20,000 from general fund and $20,000 from insurance?
Ms. Stashevsky, are you still on?
Yes.
Can you go ahead and respond to that?
Of course. The purchase order report, it indicates that the purchase order was originally created for $40,000. That was based off of estimates. As we've come closer actually to the conclusion of the rekey and we're just waiting on cutting keys, actual invoices to date are at $15,000 minus the cutting of keys. So we anticipate the total expense to be under $20,000.
Okay.
So the purchase order was created prior, so that we could get the work started. And upon completion and receipt of invoices and work rendered, that's where we've landed so far.
And then that amount will be also submitted to insurance?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, then we'll take the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Action item 8D, approval of the 2020-2021 district representatives to California Interscholastic Federation, CIF, Southern Section. Approval to designate Mr. Danny Guzman, Athletic Director, and Mrs. Elizabeth Garcia as 2020-2021 Santa Paula High School League representatives. Staff recommends that the Board of Trustees review and consider approval of the representatives to the California Interscholastic Federation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And thank you, Mrs. Mead. A second? Second. Thank you, Mrs. Colbeck. And discussion.
I just want to make a comment that the NCAA said that unless schools are in session, there will be no sports. So I assume CIF will also follow that rule. So no matter how much we want sports, I think we need to prepare people that unless school's probably in session, we cannot accommodate athletic.
Oh, yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Colbeck, for that. Anyone else have any discussion at all? All right, then we'll take the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The vote carries 5-0. The next item is the consent calendar action item. Consent items are considered routine and will be enacted by a single motion. None of the items will be discussed unless a board member requests discussion prior to the vote of the motion to adopt the consent calendar.
Madam President, I would
Yes.
like to ask for the motion to approve 9B through 9G. And pull 9A.
Okay, so 9B through 9, what was?
G.
G, thank you, okay. All right, so the motion is, oh, you're going to make the motion. Is there a second? Sorry.
Second.
All right, is there, there's no discussion, so all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay? All right, so it's 5-0.
And
do you want to?
Dr. Cora, if you would please.
Yes,
Okay.
if I can. Thank you, Mr. Urias. To the board, and thank you for Mr. Urias for pulling the item A, certificated personnel activity report. I'd like to ask the board to consider approval with amendments, and the amendments would include, under change of status, it would be 2B. I'd like to, I'm recommending that new principal of Bedell School be Mary Ellen Garcia, effective July 1, 2020. Under 3, ratification for Tammy Mosby, the effective date for retirement said 5/29/2020. It should read 6/5/2020, the last day of school. And also on the ratification of termination, resignation, or separation, I'd like to recognize that we received the resignation for Dr. Catherine Aguirre, who I'd like to say something about in a little bit. So so consider approving item A, certificated personnel activity report with the amendments of Mary Ellen Garcia, principal of Bedell School, starting July 1, Tammy Mosby, effective date 6/5/2020, and Dr. Catherine Aguirre, acceptance of her resignation.
All right, all right.
So I'd like to make the motion to approve consent calendar item 9A with the changes so mentioned by Dr. Cora.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? And that carries 5-0 also. All
So
right.
can I make a couple comments?
Yes, absolutely.
Just very quickly to the board. So for the board and also for those attending, watching, we went through the process of selecting Ms. Mary Ellen Garcia through an interview process last Friday that included certificated and classified staff from Bedell as well as cabinet members, and we brought the top 2 members to cabinet on Monday, and that's the process that we went through. And I want to quickly say for Dr. Aguirre, we will miss her services, her expertise, her knowledge, but I didn't say it during that, but She's resigning because she is going to become officially going to become superintendent of Mojave Unified School District. So we wish her, is she still on there? Yep, there she is. So we want to congratulate Ms. Aguirre, and her last day with us will be Friday, May 29th. And then, Ms. Aguirre, you will officially start there Monday,
June 1st.
So again, congratulations, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to serve. I wish all the best to Santa Paula staff and students.
Thank you.
All right. Board member comments and requests. Let's start with Mr. Luna. Mr. Luna, do you have any requests or comments?
I have no updated requests or comments at this time.
I have a feeling that you might not be the last one. All right, Ms. Urias?
Oh, just a couple of short things. Just that if you've listened to this meeting, there are so many unknowns, not only budget-wise, but safety and health-wise. So seniors, even though you were cheated out of your senior year with proms and graduation and all, please know it's out of our control. We do know your concerns. We will try to address them, but there's just too many unknowns at this point regarding our safety and health concerns. And I just want to say that I'm really, really glad that this district takes a hard look at the equity issue, and I think that might come from our County Board of Education. I know Stan Mantooth wrote a letter to Tony Thurman expressing education's concerns for our county, and they were right on. They were right on, and he very succinctly put down our concerns. And when you've got leadership like that, it trickles down to Dr. Cora and then to the rest of the staff. And I'm really pleased to be part of this district and see it work as a team as it does. And that includes our families. And I did my first Zoom meeting. I mean, I was avoiding that I was trying to avoid it altogether, but I had to do it for Mother's Day for my mom. So the siblings got together and had a happy Mother's Day with my mom by Zoom. And she's here in Santa Paula, but we're still keeping the social distancing guidelines, even within the family. And I might have a Zoom with my book club, but I had not given in to this happy hour Zoom and this and that. But now it looks like even I will have to join the Zoom crowd and learn to appreciate it. So it's affecting all of us. And that's it for my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Urias. And Mrs. Kobeck?
I would like to ask that moving forward that we have a budget placeholder on every agenda. This is not only important with the ever-changing COVID-19 rules, but with our continued budget shortfalls that we were anticipating prior to the COVID-19 rules. And we do not want to find ourselves in the same boat as earlier this year with a packed house of concerned employees and community members who felt left out or, more importantly, ill-informed. So I just think as we move forward, we need to have a serious look at where we're at and what it looks like, because it's really not a pretty sight. So we need to do that. I also want to congratulate Dr. Aguirre. It's always a feather in a district's cap when someone else sees what a good job they have done for a local district, and we wish her well in Mojave. And then I would like to thank all the staff of Santa Paula Unified School District for their hard work in this unusual time. And we appreciate your creativeness and perseverance in educating our students. I want to say a shout out to parents and extended family, because you have taken on so many responsibilities that are either new or your challenging roles which you have been untrained. We are here to support you. And here is some good advice from Ann Landers, who said, "It is not what you do for your children, but what you have taught them to do for themselves that will make them successful human beings." So to everyone, be healthy and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Colbeck. Mrs. Mead?
Just a quick thank you also to all of our employees here at the district. It's been amazing. We've heard so many wonderful things tonight about how hard everybody is working, what a different time it is for everybody. I've been humbled to see firsthand the meal distribution. It is beyond amazing what our employees go through on Mondays and how smooth it's running. It's humbling. We're awesome. Beyond words. I was excited to hear about the 974 Chromebooks that we got. That was wonderful, and hopefully that waiting list for the hotspots, because that's a big step so that we can use the Chromebooks. So anyway, just so many wonderful things that are happening. Everybody is just stepping up beyond expectations. And as a board, I know we all appreciate everybody's hard work, parents included.
Thank you, Mrs. Mead. I just want to dovetail on what they've said. When I think it's only been 3.5 weeks, I'm a little overwhelmed by how quickly everybody got things together. And yes, there are still little problems, and I think at 3.5 weeks, we can expect that, but that those things will be resolved in the interest of the students and the parents. I was just very impressed with everything that you presented tonight. It was all really, really great. I'd also like to say I'm gonna miss Dr. Geary, but I wish her well. And Mojave, that sounds like a hot place. But we will really miss you, and Godspeed to you. And I think the only thing left to say is that the next board meeting will be May the 27th. And with that, I'm going to adjourn this session at 7:50.